y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller at Recruiting in Yoga Pants. Interesting post I saw on LinkedIn, and I thought I would share it with all of you because I was like scratching my head a little bit at that one. Thought it could make for an interesting topic, especially for job seekers. So the question is, how personal is too personal on business social media? So this maybe is specific to LinkedIn, but I think we could look at all forms of social media, especially when we're job searching. Because I tell y'all all the time, network, right? Network with your friends, network with your peers, former colleagues, people you maybe have worked with in the past, you're now following on Twitter, or people in your neighborhood that might work for a company you want to work for. You might be in a Facebook group with them. And so I think that social media, even though some of the other, non-LinkedIn apps are not business happens on those apps, right? I sourced a lot on Twitter. Like, I had lists of developers and engineers, and I would tweet at them and follow them and, slide into their DMs. Like, so business happens on these other forms of social media. So I think the rules may vary somewhat. I'll be the first to admit, like, I'm really snarky and I say a lot of naughty words on Twitter. That's me. I'm a little more, not a lot, but a little more refined on LinkedIn, for example. I try to not swear, and I try to, keep it kosher in case my bosses are watching. So, I certainly am not exactly the same on all the various social media. Instagram's just for dog pics, by the way. If anybody's following me on Instagram, you're going to see dog pics, and that's about it. That's the only reason I have an Instagram, because I follow so many dog accounts. So, that's okay. You'll get a different version of me on my various sites, but they're all really me. And I think that's the core of this whole issue. So let's dig into it. The conversation that I saw, which kind of made me go, what? was someone, not anyone I'm connected to. I think some of my connections had commented, which is why it came up in my feed. Do you know you can adjust your feed? You can actually kind of tell LinkedIn what you like and don't like. Very good feature, and this person should try it. Just saying. Anyway, so this person expressed some concern around posts on LinkedIn that they felt were not professional. So people talking about politics and religion and personal stuff, family, what they had for dinner last night, whatever. Okay. And this was very upsetting to this individual, to the point where they felt that an appropriate response, particularly for political or religious posts, was to report those posts to LinkedIn. I don't remember this person's name. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Karen. I might be wrong. I don't remember. But anyway, it was an interesting perspective. And so, of course, I'm being nosy like I am. I read some of the comments, and, a lot of people were kind of on the, live and let live camp. And there were a few that were like, yeah, this is turning into Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what that means either, but go on. This is what it is. I don't think this person was in a hiring capacity. Definitely not a recruiter. I would have spoken up if they were a recruiter, and I would have had questions, but I'm learning to scroll past things I don't agree with and leave them alone. It's a process. I'm working on it. So what does this mean for job seekers? I think the number one lesson of all things social media when you are on the job search is that everything is findable. Everything is findable. Okay. Now, look, you can reduce the audience. You can share with friends only. You can go private on Twitter. You can take steps. You can lock down your Facebook account, all those things. You can take steps to protect your private information and to kind of protect your, to not be so public and so overtly out there, but you cannot control screenshots. You cannot control what someone might grab a snippet of and share more broadly and use you as a cautionary tale if you say something really crazy. I may have done this a time or two, and I'm sure it's been done to me because I talk a lot of shit. So I just kind of, have the rule, so to speak. This is how I use the private features. So just so you know, I'll segue there for just a moment. I do not share, except in very, very rare occasions, I do not share pictures of my children. My kids are practically all grown. My youngest is going to be 17. So it's not like these are infants we're talking about. But out of respect for them, because they did not opt in to this, public life and did not ask to be the child of the world's most annoying recruiter, I'm not going to share them. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to put their faces on the internet for 6,000 people to consume. I'm not going to do it unless I have expressly said, hey, this is a really great picture of all of us at Christmas. Can I post it? And they said yes. So you will see that in a couple places. Other than that, I'm not going to do it. So I will, if I'm on Facebook and sharing with my family, I'll use the friends only feature and, post a picture and update or whatever, and that's fine. But publicly, I'm very cautious of what I'm going to share. Everything that I post, 95% of what I post before I hit publish, I run it through the filter of, could I defend this in my CEO's office? And there's definitely some things where I'm like, it might be a little embarrassing, but yeah, oh, absolutely, I'll do that. Submit. It may or may not be the best idea, but I run it through that filter, right? Okay, am I going to be embarrassed if this comes back to haunt me? As a job seeker, I would say you run it through that same filter. Would I be embarrassed if an interviewer read this about me? Am I concerned that a recruiter might see this post? Would I feel the need to defend myself if a hiring manager read that article I shared? You get to decide what your personal threshold is. I'm not going to try to tell you that you should or should not post this or that or the other thing. I don't make those decisions for you. Y'all are grown adults. But I think as job seekers, just having that little extra awareness and how might this land is a good thing. I don't want you to change who you are. I don't want you to feel like you cannot be authentic. I don't want people who apparently are not familiar with the mute button to report your post because you talked about how you celebrated Easter or how you protested the Supreme Court leak or whatever. I don't care. You have the right to talk about those things and do those things and live in a way, as long as you are not harming others, that makes sense for you. I support that. But it's good to just have that little extra layer of would I be cool with a potential manager, interviewer, person in authority who has the authority to hire me seeing this? And if the answer is no, might be something to think about. Okay, so that's where I'm at with social media and how public should we be and how personal can we get. It is completely up to you. I personally like a whole person. I like getting to know an entire person, right? So when I'm engaging with you on social media, I like seeing your food pictures and your dog pictures and hearing about your walk around the block. And I think that's awesome. I think those are all things that make us who we are and just create this 3D model of you as an individual that I may never get to see because we're all remote, right? So in some ways, social media, LinkedIn has replaced the water cooler. We all used to hang out in the lunchroom and talk amongst ourselves or whatever. We don't get to do that necessarily anymore. And so in some ways, maybe LinkedIn has kind of taken that in our lives. I don't know, just a thought. So that would be the filter I would run things through as a job seeker. Be mindful that everything you post is findable, visible, and at the very least can be screenshotted and shared. So I personally would focus on specific, role related cool content, stuff that really shows who I am, why I'm good at my job. Sprinkle it with a little personality. I think that's never a bad thing. And above all, engagement. Above all, it's connection and weighing in with your personal thoughts and, complimenting someone or challenging them in the right way, I think is also a good thing. So don't let some people dull your shine. All right. That's my thoughts on that. So I hope that helped. Kind of a weird one this week. I don't know if it's directly related to recruiting and job search, but feels like it's recruiting adjacent at the very least, right? So let me know what you think. Are you deeply personal? Is LinkedIn your own personal diary, or are you more professional? And don't let that stuff get in the way. I don't know. You tell me. And I will see you next week.